you know, Mark Skousen, he gets a lot of heck. He really does.
He does.
He does. But you know, I don't think people fully appreciate what it means to run a for-profit company.
Yeah.
Not easy.
No.
It costs money to do this. Planet Hollywood is not cheap.
And,
it's not
and
free.
even 2 weeks ago, he didn't know if he was going to be, in the red or in the black.
Yeah.
You know? And then it suddenly comes together.
Yeah.
Business
never
is this
know.
way. The entrepreneurship never stops.
Right.
So people criticize him for inviting Donald Trump or whatever.
Yeah, so
but
what?
I mean, so what? Like,
let's get everybody. You know what? This kind of reminds me of Liberty.me. There's a multitude of opinions here.
Right.
And let the guy speak, for God's sake.
I know.
Yeah,
What's the big deal?
Like we're going to be like, what's the harm?
We're all
done?
libertarians.
Everyone should
We
be
let
part of
people
the
speak.
conversation.
That's the damn point.
I know. And
We had Paul
freedom is the
Krugman
thing.
here. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And he was dreadful, and it was awesome that he was
Yeah,
though,
but let Paul Krugman come here. I learned a lot from Paul Krugman. Let him come here and speak.
Paul
Nothing
Krugman
good.
he actually said that multi-generational welfare recipients are imaginary. That people are imagining
Yes,
that. That's
because there are no empirics
wow,
involved
okay,
in that. Yes,
he's
I
not
imagine
all there.
empirical
But
evidence.
I think it's great that Mark, and he's, like I say, he's suffered a lot
Yeah.
for having done a very normal thing, which is put on a good show.
Yeah.
And the theme of the show is freedom.
Right.
You know, and that's
purpose.
That's brilliant. You know.
And
So,
we should all be capitalists
and,
here.
Right.
well, and I think part of the problem is that our world is dominated by nonprofits.
Yeah.
And the nonprofits get to pick and choose.
Exactly.
Because it's just, you take the money, you spend the money, you take
Yeah.
the money, you spend the money. In a for-profit enterprise like this, you've got to really balance.
Now,
the
isn't that an
books.
example of how capitalism can include all opinions?
See, I agree with this.
Isn't that like that's the whole point of
I was
capitalism?
thinking tonight that I need to write an article for Liberty.me,
Right.
basically in defense of Skousen, because, and I'll say just on
You can
there,
extrapolate that into the market. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I agree. We all need to be more tolerant. Mark is in many ways is a great man. When Murray Rothbard was at New York University before he got his position at University of Nevada, Las Vegas, he was paid very low. He was barely able to pay his rent.
Right.
Not New York University. He was at New York Polytechnic. He was at a college in New York. Mark Skousen gave Murray Rothbard $100,000 personally.
What?
He wrote a check to him for $100,000. He gave it to Murray and said, "Murray,
I
I'd
gotta
like
meet
you.
him. I gotta.
Yeah, I want you
Wow.
to write a history of economic thought
It's an investment. He saw potential. You know.
Back then, that was a lot of
with
money.
no conditions."
Again, capitalism. I
No
mean,
conditions.
yeah, it's true.
He wrote a check to Murray Rothbard, and Murray Rothbard started what turned out to be his.
That's a lot of money then too.
Yeah, 2-volume history of economic thought.
Mark Skousen did that.
Mark Skousen did that personally, and he was never even acknowledged in the final manuscript. But he gave 6 figures to a
Unknown.
an anarchist
Right.
Jewish intellectual in New York, just as an act of piety, and said, "Please write this book."
Wow.
And I'm telling you this because.
Was this before he was at National Review or after National Review?
No, this would have been fairly late in his life.
It was, right? Yeah.
This would have been maybe 1989.
Okay, that's like okay, wow.
1988, something like that. So 6 years before his death. Well, then he moved to University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and got a decent salary.
Wow.
And continued the work. But it was Skousen who expressed the faith in him.
Right. Very cool.
That really made it was a beautiful act.
Okay.
And so
I mean, he spurred a big movement.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Look
going
at
to
that.
tolerate any criticism of Skousen in my presence.
well, so
After
there you
knowing
go.
that.
No, and I'm telling you this live on the air because very few people know this.
I mean, how can you criticize somebody who's, really?
It just
puts
shows
his-
where his heart is.
Right, but I mean, and he's exposed to the market here. I mean, here's a guy. Again, like we talked about capitalism. I have to have all views. I have to get all people here. He
Yeah.
understands business. He's not
does
shutting
understand
anybody
business.
off.
And then again, where did he get that $100,000? Through capitalism.
Right.
Through,
He believes in the market.
Right.
And so that's what I say.
and he works the market.
He
You know,
does.
you have to be
Right.
able to navigate the market in order to fund stuff
You can
like
easily
that.
tell Donald Trump to kick rocks.
Yeah,
But
right.
he's like, you know what? Yeah, come here. It's good for business, and you get that view out there. There's
That's
people
right.
here that want to hear that.
And you've seen on Facebook how much Mark is criticized.
Yes.
It's wicked. And these people who've never opened a business don't
Right.
understand
Not a clue.
yeah, what it's like to run a
Yeah.
for for-profit company, but Mark walks around here. He's accessible.
Yeah.
He talks to everybody. He's happy.
Again, it's a majority of people that would advocate for capitalism, yet I don't think understand it in that context.
That's right.
That would criticize him.
That's
and
right.
Understand that it's a multitude of views. There's a huge market, and there's demand for things like that.
And if Donald Trump is going to speak, we want him to speak here.
Of course.
You know, in front of an audience of anarcho-capitalists, basically.
Exactly.
We
Let
want
him come
everyone to
here.
speak here.
Right.
We want to be the
This isn't a
place
college campus.
to speak,
You know?
And if everyone wants to speak here, that's a good sign. It means that we're a growing contingent that they want to court. So.
Well, I'm glad I had a chance to tell that about Mark because he was always very piously devoted to Murray as a man, as a thinker. He didn't have to do that, and he did it.
Yeah.
And it's the reason we have Murray's History of Economic Thought, which has now been reprinted many times.
Wow.
It's an epic book. It starts in the ancient world and goes up to the late 19th century. And then he died.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to finish it. But because we have these two gigantic volumes, it's entirely due to Mark Skousen's inspiration.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, and he doesn't even talk about it, right?
Oh, wow.
I mean, I've never heard him even mention it.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Very
It's
cool.
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.